background information. The M2 district has a height maximum of 50 feet. In this case, a small portion of the total square footage of the building, 7.5%, would be above 50 feet in the proposal. Addition is located approximately 265 feet from the nearest property line and 1,900 square feet from the nearest residential dwelling unit. The proposed addition would be for storage of dry goods to the growing region and would not increase the number of employees or traffic to the site. It's just storage. It's pretty technically advanced. The site's located in the light manufacturing district. The comprehensive land use plan has light industrial east and west of the site and south of the site, and north of it on 3637 it's actually commercial. So this is a commercial manufacturing corridor along a 4-lane limited access road. In 2002, the city originally provided economic development incentives to help induce the development to locate the site here. It's one of the largest employers in the city of Delaware. It may be the largest, it's in the top. From a variance perspective, 12 factors for principal difficulties is how we have to review the variance on, and if it meets any of the practical difficulties. From staff's perspective, it meets 7 of the 12. The code doesn't require you meet all 12. You meet 7 of the 12. In this case, it meets 7 of the 12. Again, as I indicated, Kroger's has been there for 17 years. It's been a good neighbor. This is a slight increase in the size of the building. Only 7.5% of it would be above the 50-foot height limit. Also, some view lines, as I indicated earlier, it's pretty far from any residential development or commercial development. The applicant took some photos from four points east, north, west, south, and east of the site in a counterclockwise orientation, and they also superimposed what the addition would look from that area. This is a view from US 3637. If you can see the white portion here, that would be where the variance would be required. That'd be the 125-foot tall portion of the building. The development wouldn't be white; it'd be painted to match the existing building, but this helps you locate where it's at. It pretty much blend in with the background. This is from the west along Glen Road, and this is the area. You can see that white area here. That's what you would see from Glen Road. The existing building is about 50 feet high. You can see, because the additions on the eastern portion, that some of it will be blocked with the existing building. This is from Curve Road from the south, and you'd see the height of the building in this area. And this view line's from the east, from the railroad tracks, and as you can see, there's some trees out there blocking it, and that would be what it would look like. So I give the applicant credit for superimposing that on the site and took some view lines, which helps us a lot. Give us a feel for, this site's really away from residents and property lines, and it wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb if it was, in a denser area, if you will, from staff's perspective. Also, like I said, they're proposing a storage system that's really technologically advanced, and I think the applicants can go in detail exactly why it's required and the like, but it's just for storage, and apparently there's a crane in there that's stored vertically, and it's actually lessens the site plan. If they kept it all under 50 feet, they'd need more site plan, and this site may not be able to handle that type of expansion. The expansion would keep Kroger competitive in the grocery industry while maintaining the current facility. Without the variance, in the worst case scenario, they may have to look at another facility. Again, as I said, the nearest residential property is 256 feet away, and 1,900 feet from the other properties in that area. Again, the color would be to match the building, which is, I think it's a beige color or the like, similar to that. In the also the B4 or this district, where a height variance is required. Without the variance, as I said, there'd be really no benefit to Kroger, and it may, the worst case scenario, they could look at another facility, and our largest employer in the city, that'd be a problem from an economic development perspective. So in conclusion, staff recommends approval of the variance for 4 reasons. One, it's been there 17 years, been a good neighbor, and it's only said the height variance is only 7.5% of the site plan itself. The addition is dry storage. It would not increase the number of workers and or traffic in the area. Third reason, the building would be located 265 feet from the nearest property line and 1,900 square feet from the nearest residential unit. And 4, in the ever-changing grocery industry, Kroger is investing in new technology and continue to upgrade and improve the current facility to stay competitive. Kroger indicated to be, if they are unable to construct it, the new system, the current facility may quickly become obsolete. Staff recommends approval with 2 conditions. And also there's a letter in front of you from the city's economic development director supporting the proposal. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. And as indicated, the applicants are here to answer any questions you may have also. Now, just an aside to this, this is one step in a 2-step process. They're going in front of Planning Commission April 3rd for the combined preliminary final development plans, and that would go to council later in April. So they want to move fairly quickly on constructing this in the next year or so. But I think they want to start construction as soon as possible this spring.
Just out of curiosity, is there anybody in this room that's here because they oppose this? Okay. Does anybody from Kroger or like to say anything about it yet, or come up here and represent? And then if the board has any questions, they can answer, or you can answer. Anybody have any questions for?
Just curious, how much cost will this add? Does it cost to put this addition in?
The building cost is approximately $28 million.
Sir, could you state your name so?
Oh, I'm sorry, Randy Broom. Sorry. I'm with the design build firm.
Anybody else have anything?
Have any questions about the staff report or agree with the conditions, or is there?
No.
We have no problem with conditions.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Let's meet your pro.
And I don't know if we need to mention or not, we had a meeting last week with some of the neighbors that we presented the site and the building with them the same information that you've seen tonight, and it went very well, I think.
And I think Mr. Glenn is here.
Here.
So.
I'm their closest neighbor.
Sir, you want to come up here? We just want to get everything on the mic there.
I'll let you have the hot seat.
I'm Roger Glenn, and I'm their closest neighbor. If you see that triangle pond to the left, you follow that lane up, and you see those houses. I live right underneath that 2 right there. And that's our farm. Kroger's good neighbors. They've done everything they said they do when they built the place. And as far as light shining on us, noise, everything. And we're all for this. We have no problem. My other neighbors agree, same thing. This is one of the few times we have a construction site like that that's going to be already on footprint, and you won't even lose hardly a horseweed, little of a tree. The only thing it might displace is a couple of geese. Probably 3,000. But the Glens are all for it. We have no problems whatsoever. They explained what they were going to do as far as the noise or anything, and it'll be a quiet thing, no big lights on top. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. No, any other comments for it?
I should probably add,
We have already submitted to FAA and we have received their approval. We knew, obviously, we have to go through this process, but. Excuse me.
Okay, then, entertain a motion on 2019-052 for approval, or?
I make a motion that we approve that. Oh, sorry. I make a motion that we approve the application, case number 2019-0252, finding beyond a reasonable doubt the decision factors necessary for approval of a variance according to Chapter 1128 Planning and Zoning Code.
And with staff conditions.
Oh, your staff's conditions.
Second, please.
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Donbaugh,
Aye.
Ms. Fisher,
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn,
Aye.
Mr. Whitmore,
Aye.
Councilman Hellinger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Junk,
Yes.
Chairman Dick.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next order of business then will be 2019-0253, a request by Angels Hands LLC for approval of a conditional use request for a major home occupation at 152 Wilder Street on approximately 3.86 acres on property zoned R3, one family residential district. And staff report.
Yep, thank you. I'll be giving Lance a break here. The proposal before you is for a major home occupation canine obedience training facility, and there's no request for any exterior alterations as the necessary features for the proposed facility are all existing site conditions. 152 Wilder Street is within a well-established neighborhood east of Lake Street and immediately north of the CSX Railroad. A majority of the properties within this neighborhood are a fifth of an acre, with a few larger than an acre. The proposed site is the only property larger than 3 acres. All the properties within this neighborhood are zoned R3 for one family residential. As we can see here, the property is surrounded by a large number of trees and has an existing parking pad that can accommodate approximately 4 cars. The existing shed and fenced area are in the northeast corner of the property, as you can see here. And here's a street view of the existing shed. All the training will be held by appointment between the hours of 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And as for the standards and regulations for home occupation, for the standards of a major home occupation, no signage is proposed. As far as the 2 off-street parking spaces, the existing parking pad will more than accommodate this requirement. As far as the customer client being capped, the staff finds this proposal meets the intent of this regulation, as the schedule by appointment will allow the applicant to maintain the maximum of daily and weekly totals. However, the 1 client at a time regulation being replaced by 3 is likely not issued due to the existing site conditions I previously mentioned. As far as general regulations for all home occupations, as previously mentioned, the existing conditions are likely to accommodate the drop-off activity being increased from 2 to 3. As far as the intent of protecting the residential character of the neighborhood should be, fine, as the existing site conditions are where the training facility will be located with the shed and fenced area. City ordinance allows up to 3 dogs to live on a property. However, it has no regulations for visiting dogs. However, commission may consider extending the maximum number of clients to extend to the dogs as well. As far as conditions for all conditional use permits, all the standards listed before you for a conditional use permit are met, as the proposal contains no exterior changes. In summary, the proposal here is all within an existing shed and fenced area that have received proper city permits and inspections. With the setback of the shed and the existing trees, staff finds as though the residential character of the neighborhood will be maintained. However, if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them at this time. Or if you need me to bump the slide back, just let me know. Thanks.
There's actually 10 conditions that staff will submit to recommend approval with this case. So if you have any questions about those, we could discuss those as we move forward also.
The last one states that if you have a homeowners association, is there one?
I believe there isn't, but I'd defer to the applicant on that.
I was confused. You said should consider having more, or like, because in here, it says should consider no more than 3 dogs are allowed at any one time.
Yeah, the condition we proposed is capping the maximum number of clients to a maximum of 3 at any one time. However, we did not offer a condition for the number of dogs that would be brought with those clients. However, considering the city ordinance capping the number of dogs that may live on a property as 3, we offer that as just a point of discussion that commission may consider discussing.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody in here that's opposed to this? You want to come up here, sir?
I got a question.
Sir, can you state your name first?
Larry Betts Senior. I live at 10 Smith Street. Okay. I ain't got no problem with the dogs. As long as they ain't running loose and ain't barking all the time, because that is zoned for residential houses, not small businesses. It ain't. And that's what my pose is. We don't need no more businesses up in that neighborhood. They got enough traffic up there now. But as far as the dogs go, I ain't got no problem with them. As long as the inner fence ain't running loose. Because I had to call the cops on the guy who lives across the street from me today, leaving his dog running loose, and it tried to bite me 3 times in the last 2 weeks. And they're leaving them running loose. Yes. But that's the only problem I got. It's zoned for houses, not small businesses. But, you know, like I say, it's way back in the corner, so it don't make no difference to me. And don't long as they fence in that, and there ain't a bunch of dogs back there at one time. Yeah. Because I lived up there ever since I was born. So.
Maybe your neighbor could get some obedience training for their dog. You know, I mean, if you got a dog, maybe, yeah. She's like,
So.
dog training dog.
Yeah, I had to call the cops on dog running loose today in the neighborhood, trying to bite me. Yeah. They built them a citation for it too. Well, that's the only thing I got to say.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Would you like to come up and comment on?
Wendy Schieffer at 152 Wilder Street. I appreciate his sentiments, and there will not be dogs running free. That's what I'm there to do, is to train them. And that's why the fence is there and the building is there, so that we can train during bad weather, or if we need to have a quiet place for a dog to start training, that will supply that. As far as the traffic goes in the area, it's all by appointment only, and the group lessons will be no bigger than 3 dog and human partners at a time, because I want to be able to provide very one-on-one lessons rather than a large group of dogs.
So you intend to keep a 3-dog limit?
Yes.
Across the board?
Well,
Yes.
I think I want to clarify that. In the city, you're allowed to have 3, the owner's allowed to have 3 of their dogs.
Mhm.
So we would limit any
extra
dogs to 3.
Which I do have 3
6
dogs
total.
at my house that are mine, so.
What kind of training do you do? I know it's obedience, but is it?
It is all positive reinforcement training. I do some clicker training, and then other training that I will offer. A lot of people need behavior modification. Maybe the dog gets on the couch and they don't want it on the couch, and just different things like that. So that would be a little extra service, which would be one-on-one, which would be actually at the client's home, so that we can address the issues that we have at their home.
I'm curious, where have you been training before?
At this point, I have done all my training as private lessons at the owner's home.
At the owner's place?
Yes. I haven't had any group lessons because I haven't really had a place to do it, so.
Yeah, I already by your place, you can't really see that shed back there.
And when the trees are out, you really can't see it,
And it's an unusually large lot, 3 acres. Is
Yeah.
kind of,
I know. We enjoy it.
Are you gonna expand your fencing, or is it just gonna be the fencing that's
It's
there?
just gonna be the fencing that's there.
I didn't understand why on the back we had that.
Oh, that's just what I use to put, that's
She provided that.
the products that I use to put the fence up, yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about your background in this area. Your
In
history.
dog training?
Yes.
Well, since I was a little girl, I've loved dogs. I started training when I was about 13 years old when I moved to Delaware in 4-H. And that's what got me interested in it. Of course, as I grew older, that kind of fell off and I became a hairdresser. So I had, actually my profession is hairdressing. I've done that for 30 years, and as I've gotten to be over 50, I decided I wanted to do something that I truly enjoyed for the rest of my life, so that my job wouldn't be a job. So that's where this came from. I lost both my parents in 2015 and 16, and at that point I made a decision that life is too short and I need to move on this. I took an online course at Animal Behavior College and was certified through them. I have a mentor here in town. Her name is Sue Wilcox. She owns Freshwater, out on Freshwater Road. She owns Mighty Fine Kennels. So I had worked with her for about 6 months, helping her train dogs, and she was helping me learn some of her, she does clicker training, so she helped me a lot with that. So then I did that and I received my certification. So I've just been picking up clients here and there, and I have signed up for, it's called Rover.com, and there's another one called WAG, and they're dog walking services. So people call and ask you to come and walk their dog while they're at work. So that's a really key way for me to be able to expand my connections and contacts. So that's what I've been doing here since I got my certification 2 years ago.
What's clicker training?
You have a clicker, and what it is it's real important your timing when you're training a dog. They have to know that they're doing the right thing. So a clicker gives them a mark. You did the right thing, here's a treat. So it's the Palovas, I can't remember the guy's name. Yeah, Palov. His training that he said you can condition an animal to know what you're doing. So every time they hear the clicker, they know they did the right thing. So they will try and do the right thing again to get that clicker, which means a treat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And ma'am, would your 3 dogs be participating in the group as training as well? Are they part of your training? So a total of 6 possibly at one time, or?
My own personal dogs will not be involved. I may have one dog that I use as a demonstration, but they will not all be out there at the same time. That would just be too chaotic to try and keep track of.
So Wendy, even though the city's using a staff recommendation of 3 dogs,
Mhm.
3 clients at a time, that was also what you wanted, was 3 dogs. You don't want any more.
No. I want to be able to control everything, and I think the more people and dogs you get, the harder that becomes.
and just to clarify, the reason we use 3 is because our code
Code, yeah.
is 3. So we figured that was symmetrical.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One last question. So expand a little bit about, obviously I would assume the biggest concern would be noise.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about noise control and what a typical situation would be like.
The only time that I think noise might come into play is if there is a dog that doesn't tolerate other dogs very well. That can happen. And in those cases, I would actually remove that person from the class to have them come back separately so that we could work on the problem of not being able to calm down around other animals and around dogs. Most of the time, that would be the only time that there would be a lot of barking going on. Another thing we could do is to move into the building if we're outside. That would also eliminate a lot of that problem. But that is something that I was trained to do. When you see a dog that is anxious and reacting to the rest of the dogs, it's a good idea to remove them because it's just not very easy to deal with that, as well as try and give everybody their time at the same time. So that would be something I would have them come back at another time where we could work on that.
How long are the classes during the day?
They're about an hour because dogs really only have about a 10-minute attention span. So you would work with them like 10 minutes and then we would have discussion and any questions, and then we would work on something else for 10 minutes till we got about an hour or
So if we had a dog that had issues, it would only last about an hour.
Right.
Your 3 dogs?
Yes.
They go outside?
Yeah.
Have you ever received any level of noise complaint from anyone on 3.8668?
No, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything
Anything
else?
else? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you'd like to speak to?
I apologize, I didn't come up earlier to get sworn in.
Yes, swear in.
Because I,
Oh, okay, you just swear you in then, okay. Okay, you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
yes.
Would you state your name and address?
My name is Rebecca Cahill. My address is 137 Chamberlain Street. My property butts up to the back side of her property. The only,
Across the tracks?
Yes.
Okay.
well, no, the tracks are, down in my house is, let's see, Chamberlain Street is right there, over to the right a little bit, up right there. Yeah, and I own five properties there. So it butts up right to her property. My only question was I was having trouble hearing. I'm sorry, I am hard of hearing, but so her 3 dogs are not included in this 3-dog limit that you're talking about. So there's possibility, I mean, her dogs, this is just for her business purposes.
Right.
Okay. And I have no issues with her dogs, and they have quite a bit of land over there, and I have had no issues with sound or dog barking or anything like that. Or a couple of her dogs have come onto my property before, but she's always right there to get them back. There's never been any issues at all, and I don't see a problem with the 3-dog limit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if no other comments or questions, and have somebody approve 2019-0253?
Gentlemen,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You already know my name. Yeah, I got one other question. Now, is it going to rezone that area for businesses? Or is it going to say residential?
It's just a conditional
variance
use
for the
permit.
Because I don't want a bunch of businesses up in the neighborhood. Because they ain't never had none up there.
No, at such time that if she were to move, that variance goes away. So it's just for her while she lives there.
Well, I ain't got no problem with the dogs back there. As long as they don't get out and don't know that, because I got grandkids just like that one today. My grandkids is there in the yard, that dog would have bit them. Yeah, so. And I ain't got no problem.
I'd get one of her cards and give it to your neighbor.
That's the reason I called the cops on them today. He gave him a citation, he did. Now, I ain't the only neighbor. One, 2 houses down from me had trouble, and one up in the corner tried to buy them too. Did. And they gave him a citation for it. And they leave that dog run loose all the time. And the mailman, I had to laugh at the mailman though. I never knew he could move so fast. Yeah, I ain't got no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take a motion. Somebody on this one?
I got it. I move to approve application 2019-253, finding beyond a reasonable doubt that the decision factors necessary for approval of variance according to Chapter 1128 of the Planning and Zoning Code are met, including with staff conditions, the 10 conditions, correct?
Okay, second. Any discussion? Take a roll call, please.
Mr. Dauenbaugh,
Aye.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn,
Yes.
Mr. Whitmore,
Yes.
Councilman Hellinger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Junk,
Yes.
and Chairman Dick.
Yes. Okay, approved. Okay.
Would you please give that neighbor of yours a card so that maybe he will come?
Okay, and the next order of business is 2019-0256, a request by the Rockwell Company for approval with variance to Chapter 1149.01 temporary uses to allow multiple mobile food vendors for more than 45 calendar days per year at the food truck depot at 59 Potter Street on approximately 1.066 acres and zoned R4 General Business District.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as you indicated, the site located just south of East Central on Potter Street. It's zone B4. That's our most conservative. It allows the most uses of any of our business districts. To the north, the zone to the north, the west, and to the south, it's owned by the railroad company, and there's not zoned. Further to the west is commercial land, and there's a few bars in that area. And to the east, there's resident or commercial properties to the east. This is the aerial. It's been a vacant building for several years. It's on about 1 acre. We're excited the owner purchased this and hoping to renovate the building into a restaurant/bar use. We think that's good adaptive reuse on the east side of town. Hopefully we'll spur some development on the east side of town. This is his proposal. Up in the north is to the left. The existing building is about, I think it's right around 2,600 square feet. He's going to renovate the interior, paint the outside, clean it up. Just west of that, he's going to put in 2 volleyball courts. There's going to be, I think, 26 parking spaces on the south portion of the site and detention area just south of that. In these 2 areas along Potter Street and north of his parking lot, he has about, each of those spaces are about 70 linear feet. And that area is where he's proposing to have food trucks come during the week and when he's open. Back in, I believe it was 2011, the city adopted a food vendor ordinance to the city. And it indicates mobile food vendors may be permitted by administrative review on any non-residential property for up to 45 days in the calendar year. And we've had several in and out downtown. You might have seen them. They're all on private property, and they have to get a permit. And processing that, takes staff time. The owner is proposing to have multiple food trucks at this site, including his, throughout the year to provide food service to his establishment. There could be many varieties of food trucks that come and go throughout the year, but the presumption is that they would essentially always be on this site. Staff believes that's a positive. We haven't had a request like this before, where the owner or somebody purchased 1 acre parcel, put a cleanup, put a restaurant and bar there, and also have, mobile vendors there on, selling their product. I also want to let you know that this site plan also requires a combined preliminary and final development plan that will be in front of Planning Commission April 3rd and council after that. This use is permitted per the code. The only thing we're looking at today is the variance to allow the number of food trucks at that site. Therefore, because he wants multiple food trucks there, we indicated it probably makes sense to have a variance. He could probably meet today's requirements, rotate these trucks in and out. To be honest with you, from a staff perspective, it'd be an administrative nightmare. It'd be hard to keep track of that, and actually the expense would be significant on his end because each time you need a permit. I don't get permits $50, so you just imagine multiple food trucks at 45-day limits, and throughout the year, so from a staff perspective, the variance would be more efficient for staff. And also because the guy purchased an acre of property, we believe it makes sense to have the multiple food trucks at one time. I think the initial reason to restrict food trucks was because they're competitors to brick and mortar restaurants downtown. Well, he had a brick and mortar restaurant. That's his business plan. So, we think the variance makes sense from that perspective because that's the business plan he wants. Is the site unique? Yeah, it's over 1 acre, and he has room for it. Each food, like I said, there's about 140 linear feet of area for the food truck. Food trucks are about 20 to 30 feet in length. The fire code requires a 10-foot separation, so there might be 6 there at one time. If it's crowded, successful, which we hope he is. As I indicated, the site zone B4, which allows the uses. To the west are other bar type uses. To the east is commercial uses, so the character of neighborhood wouldn't be that detrimental to the character of the neighborhood, we believe. Therefore, staff recommend approval with 2 conditions for all the reasons that I suggested. Also, there's a letter from our economic development director in front of you supporting the proposed use, and we think it would be, finally get somebody on the east side of town trying to renovate an existing property. We think that's a positive for the city. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
On the city's staff recommendation, if the current property owner or the food is for the business only, so he gets this established and it's very, very successful and he wants to sell it, it can't transfer to another person?
Well, it's similar to the last case. We wanted to run with the owner in case, he has a good proven track record. It's an establishment that could have several different uses. There's alcohol served, so we want to ensure that if it is sold, that, the track record of the person it's sold to is also consistent.
Right, but if he went to sell it and I'm going to buy it, I'm thinking that I could have food trucks there, but if it's a variance just for it, will that transfer, or would I have to?
You'd have to come back in front of the commission.
I just want to.
We just kind of want to protect ourselves in that area.
Can you clarify? The variance is for the 45-day limit?
Well, it's to allow multiple food trucks, vendors for more than 45 days and have multiple food trucks at the same time.
But you mentioned before the permitting requires a fee
right.
If we're not able to variance or waive a permit fee, right? I mean, there's still gonna have to be.
Well, once he gets approved, he won't. If this variance is approved, there won't be any permit fees required or temporary uses. So this would allow multiple food trucks at once. He gets this approved through council and planning commission, the site plan. He could bring in food trucks.
So if I contract or whatever with him to bring my food truck there, there's no permit fee, but if I park it across the street, I gotta go get a permit.
Well, you'd have to park it on private property.
But I would have to be permitted. So
correct.
Are there concerns about other food truck vendors with a unlevel playing field?
Now, this is kind of unique because he bought the entire parcel. And again, I think when the food truck ordinance was written, I wasn't here at the time, but I believe the reason why is because it was, they thought it was a competitive disadvantage to the brick and mortar stores. They could pull up in front of a restaurant and sell the same goods. Where in this case, he's buying the building, he's creating a bar restaurant. So he's bringing in the competition.
Business plan is
Yeah,
food trucks.
right.
I understand, but if I own property and I want to put a food truck on it, I have to pay.
You have to pay. That's correct.
But he owns property,
Well,
puts a
he-
food truck on it,
he
he
also-
doesn't pay because of this variance.
Right, he's paying for this variance, he's paying for the site plan and upgrade, so, he's paying ultimately property taxes and, income taxes that most time food trucks probably don't pay.
Well, they should.
Quite honest with you.
Does the physical building have a restaurant, kitchen in it?
I defer to the applicant on that.
Yes, please. Can you state your name then, please?
Paul Rockwell.
Could you go ahead and elaborate on that?
What was the question again?
The question was, is there a kitchen in the physical building besides the trucks?
Yes. There's a small kitchen inside.
It's not restaurant quality.
Think of it as an indoor food truck. It's about the size of a food truck and it's going to be designed, we're going to be open year round. So we want to have an element to where if it's sub-zero and food trucks don't want to go out or people don't want to go outside, we at least have an option inside.
That's what I was wondering.
Small, yeah, it'll probably, yeah. And we'll own it and run that and operate it. And there's restrooms inside as well.
Elaborate on your business plan a little bit. Are you thinking you're going to be consistent food trucks, or are you going to just reach out and contract and try varieties?
Yeah, so our plan is 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, food trucks to be there. In the restaurant world, business varies pretty much from Monday through Sunday. So we will have maybe on Monday, one truck for breakfast, maybe one for lunch, maybe one for dinner. They may all be the same truck. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it'll ramp up from there to like a Friday night. We may have 2 or 3 trucks or 4 trucks. Just depends on, that's kind of based on the need of the crowd. And historically, people go out more on the weekends. So we'll have more trucks there when it's likely that people are going to come out. Yeah, but we'll be 24 or 7 days a week, probably closed on a few holidays.
And the food trucks, are you planning on identifying specific food trucks that are going to be quote unquote permanent, or are you going to rotate?
Well, there's no permanent.
How do I
Okay, so the process,
owner, how do I?
the process with the food trucks, there's no permanent food trucks. But we would like to have this all came up with the 45 days. So if I have a guy who wants to put a burger truck here and he wants to come here every Saturday and Sunday for a whole year, in one of our spots that we designated for a burger truck, and it's a really good burger and it's great synergy and the cultures falls in line with what we want to do, then we want him to be able to, or her to be there with their truck. And there's no permanent or even temporary hookups. There's no drainage, there's no water, there's no power. They are fully self-contained. So a default of that is they have to leave. So there's no trucks that's going to be sitting there. Nothing's going to be attached. There's no camper, picnic. It's going to be a parking space designated for food trucks. We're going to run them. We have probably 100 food trucks that reached out to us through our Facebook that we've just opened up a few months ago. We got a lot of great feedback from everybody on the east side and around Delaware. Everyone's excited for it. We've had a food truck out there. We paid a permit and was there on February 3rd. 50, 60 people came up. We passed out free food. Everyone loved it. It's just a great culture around food trucks because it's like a festival atmosphere. So we feel that when I walked through the building last summer, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. I just love that type of atmosphere, and we want to bring good quality food options to Delaware. We got vegan options coming, which there's not a whole lot of vegan and vegetarian options around town. We have some of the best vegan trucks have got a hold of us with great ratings. I haven't had their food yet. Thurman's Burgers reached out to us, and they want to put their food truck over here whenever they can, you know, and they have a burger spot right downtown, and they want to come over and be part of it because they understand that even though it's downtown, it's the east side. And, you know, if you can capture more of the audience, then it's great. So there's a lot of startups. All my businesses are grassroots. I started them with my bare two hands, funded them myself, worked them myself, just like this project. And we want to bring in people. And the people that I've met in the food truck world, that's who they are. They're hustlers. They come out. And if you don't put out a good quality food, you're not going to last long in the food truck world. So we're not worried about the quality because if they're not any good, no one's going to be buying their food. They're not going to make any money, and they're just not going to last. So we're confident. I mean, there's hundreds of food trucks in Central Ohio, and there's nothing being built like this in Ohio. And we're excited. We went all over the country watching and seeing and talking to people around the country. And, you know, I haven't been this excited since I opened my first sports bar. So I'm excited.
That's interesting. Given the fact that you're planning on making the building into a restaurant, and obviously you're putting out the volleyball courts on the outside, and I'm assuming the parking area in the back will be for patrons when they
Yes.
come in. What kind of time frame do you have in mind for, first of all, establishing a restaurant, and secondly, improving the property?
Well, we have an April 3rd meeting with the department of the city that decides whether it's okay to do it. Then it goes to city council the following week. And if it's all approved, as soon as city, we'll start moving dirt outside. And our goal is to be open up June 1st.
Okay, thank you.
What demographics are you shooting for, type of clients?
People who like food. So that's a great thing. I've learned a lot in the food world. I didn't grow up in it other than like, you know, as a business. I learned it, but food spans a long ways. And that's why with the food trucks, we can have the options of food for people. I can have vegan trucks, I can have dessert trucks, I can have ice cream truck, burger truck, pizza truck, and people can come out and have a good time.
The building itself, how much seating is in there internally? I didn't see that.
I think there's going to be about roughly 90 seats inside the building, 90 to 90.
Beer, wine, and liquor?
Beer, wine, and liquor, yeah.
First, thanks for coming to me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
I can see that you're improving it. Are you, as the owner, will you be responsible for all of their qualifications, like with the health department and everything? I know that they have to get approved, but how do you enforce?
We're going to keep a very strict binder on each food truck that comes through, or we like to put it in the cloud. I don't like paper. So we'll have a file folder for every food truck that comes through. And the one thing that my team is on point with, and that's documentation and record keeping and being organized. And I can tell you right now that because I have to follow these rules. So when it comes time for our health inspection, then we'll be reaching out to the food truck saying we need yours. When we do our fire inspection, we'll be reaching out to them saying we need yours, that kind of thing. And if you know, we want to create a win-win situation. So we want people who are in it. We don't want people who are fly-by-night that trying to cut around the corners. I've been around it for a long time, and you might as well just, if you got to cut corners, go do something else. So, you know, do what you have to do, follow the rules, and put out a good product. So we're going to be on top of that every food truck that comes through. You know, from talking with the city on this whole thing, you know, we'll have the schedule. It'll be online with documentation. You can call anytime, and we'll tell you and give you everything we have.
Can your fencing remain?
We're removing the chain link fence to the south and to the east. We're going to paint the chain link fence and take off the barbed wire on top on the west side and the north side. And we're going to paint it. We're going to paint it black, make it look nice, and put up some netting. And then on the south side, we're going to have, I think, 4 trees we're planting, and some shrubs are going in. We'll put in sidewalks, crosswalks. People have been driving by there come June 1st when we're ready to open. It's not going to look like it used to. It's really going to be a nice spot. We want it to be like a park-like setting. So we want grass, the sand volleyball courts. I'm working with the city of Columbus, or somebody who works in Columbus, not with the city, on sand volleyball. So we got people emailing us already, like Winnie Holman, we want to do volleyball out there, we want to come out. So a lot of good feedback that I've heard.
Food trucks and then come into the facility, then eat, or you get a
Yeah.
drink and then go out and get some,
Yeah.
bring it back in.
Yep. So it's going to be very laid back. You come in, you get a drink, kids can run around. We'll be very family oriented. I just took a picture. I was downtown Columbus. They had a dog picker-upper basket with the thing. So we're going to take a picture of it. We want to put some of those in there so people outside to bring their pets, they can, you know, have the proper tools and things to do it. So we want to be friendly to everybody and, you know, that kind of stuff. So
Live music?
we would love to have live music. So I don't know. Haven't got that far yet as far as noise and outside type stuff, but
You're next to the train track. You got that going for you.
yeah. So, but yeah, we'll have live entertainment, live music stuff. I don't see concerts out there, but I see entertainment and a lot of good times coming.
Anybody have any other comments or questions, concerns? Anybody out there?
Great idea.
They better not have any comments.
Negative comments anyway.
Right.
If not,
Well, thank you.
I'll take a motion for that.
I move to approve application 2019-0256. Finding beyond a reasonable doubt the decision factors necessary for approval of variance according to chapter 1128 of the planning and zoning code are met, including in conjunction with staff recommendations.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Dillenbaugh,
Aye.
Ms. Fisher, Mr. Vaughn,
Yes.
Mr. Whitmore,
Yes.
Councilman Hellinger,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk,
Yes,
and Chairman Dick.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you for investing in Delaware.
Yeah. Any other comments or discussion for the board staff? You have anything? Need to know?
Next meeting's April 10th. Right now, we have at least one case.
Good night.
okay, you do have a case.
One case?
We have one as of now, yes.
Okay. All right, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
I moved.
Okay, great, thank you. Here, 1 second. Mr. Dillenbaugh,
Aye.
Ms. Fisher,
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn,
Yes.
Mr. Whitmore,
Yes.
Councilman Hellinger,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Junk,
Yes.
Chairman Dick.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Kroger expansion. Expansion. What's that?
We're busy.